And welcome to the news at 7 on NTA International. Reaching you live from Abuja, I am Habiba Oladipo. We begin with a look at the headlines. Renewed clashes in some local government areas of Benue State. Government imposes 24-hour curfew in Katsina Ala town. Federal government to institute policies to address misconception about the use of modern biotechnology. Solar energy experts advise Nigeria to embrace new renewable energy as solution to its power challenges. Sri Lanka authorities block social media as police arrest 24 people following Sunday's Southeaster blast. And now to the details. Information and Culture Minister Lai Mohammed has rounded off his trip to the United States and the United Kingdom with satisfaction that the international community is desirous of supporting President Muhammadu Buhari's led administration in making Nigeria work in the overall interest of its citizens. Anthony Forsen reports.
The Information and Culture Minister was first in Washington, D.C., where he had his engagements with some international media organizations such as the Washington Post, Al Jazeera, Reuters, Voice of America, Times, and the African Report. Among others, he met with the influential Atlantic Council, the Council on Foreign Reforms, Center for Strategic and International Studies, as well as the International Not-for-Profit Corporation, FICAN, also in Washington. From the United States, the minister proceeded to the United Kingdom, where he had similar engagements with the BBC, Sky TV, among others. He made a presentation at the Norton Rose Fulbright and Woodrow Breakfast Briefing, tagged Nigeria in the Buhari second term, Stability, Growth and Opportunity. In all this, the minister used the opportunity to tell the Nigerian story.
What I take home is that we need to change the narrative. We've done very much. The think tanks and the influential people appreciate what we have done. They know, interestingly enough, they are actually also on the same page with us. But the wider American society, the wider British society is our next target.
When asked to comment on his outing, he simply said,
the kind of reforms they are asking for at the Fulbright breakfast are the kind of reforms that we have already embarked upon. But like I also explained there, Nigeria is a very big country and complex country too, and reforms don't yield results always overnight. We've been successful in Nigeria because our reforms have actually yielded reforms. Both the World Bank and the Mo Ibrahim Index have all, acknowledged the impact of our reforms, and that's why we've won accolades and awards from them. The naira has stabilized around 360 naira to a dollar from about 520 in the 2016. We now have a reserve that is biggest in the history of Nigeria, from about $28 billion reserve. Today we have about 45 billion reserve. We have been able to bring down inflation from 18.5% in 2016 to 8.3% today. I think these are the kind of narratives that would interest investors in Nigeria.
The idea behind the minister's visit to the United States and United Kingdom is to correct some erroneous impression that the Nigerian government under President Muhammadu Buhari manipulated the last concluded general elections. Anthony Forsen, NTA News.
As Nigerians celebrate Easter to commemorate the resurrection and death of Jesus Christ, guests on the NTA flagship program Good Morning Nigeria have urged people to apply their spirituality to daily life so as to create harmony, peace and progress amongst its diverse citizens. Olalade Alayaki reports.
Celebration of Easter, while Christians and non-Christians are sharing in the joy of the moment, the clergy have continued to urge Nigerians not to lose the essence of the sacrifice that Jesus made for the world. Guests on Good Morning Nigeria discussed spirituality and nation building, where they submitted that it is possible for a nation or community to be religious, but fail to apply spirituality in their conduct, particularly when it comes to serving others.
That's what we need, that your life finds fulfillment when you serve others, when you love others, when you forgive others, when you have mercy for others. That's all you need.
The Quran is telling us always to give right to the people, their own right. And when we say they give everyone his right, that means we are building the nation.
The guest noted that Nigeria's challenges cannot be overcome if the virtues of honesty, selflessness, patriotism, tolerance, and value for human life are not adopted by adherents of all religions, especially at times like this.
We should now start inch by inch to fight for the right things, to go to work on time, to do the things we are supposed to do, to stand for integrity, to stand for virtue. And it is not easy. That's why the language of sacrifice is important.
Sacrifice in the genuine spiritual sense for anybody who is thinking of salvation boils down to letting go of activities, actions, thoughts, and things that diminish your spirituality.
They also emphasize the need for spiritual leaders to always speak the truth and de-emphasize materialism in their sermons. In Abuja,
Easter celebration, Women of Zion of the Redeemed Church of God, Province 1, have extended a hand of fellowship to residents of Sabo Ido along Airport Road, Abuja. Adebola Brookslyn Sunday has the details.
Sabo Ido is one of the new settlements in the suburb of the Federal Capital Territory, Abuja. Despite its proximity to the Nnamdi Azikiwe International Airport, the community lacks potable water and most of the residents rely on water vendors, popularly known as Meirua, just like Timi Ajama, are public servants.
Everybody needs the water. Like this guy, I have to go down there, look for him, then bring him down to my house. It's not easy for us.
The challenge being faced by Timi Ajama and other residents is now a thing of the past, with the handover of the borehole provided by the Women of Zion, who are on a mission to give a helping hand.
I was called upon recently that they have provided for my people clean drinking water. We are indeed grateful.
It be a source of relief, because being in a place where there is no water is just like, it's like living in a dead town.
So it's not for Christians, it's not for Muslims, it's for all. Jesus came for the whole world.
With God, all things are possible. So with God helped us, it was easy. This water from the fountain of living waters, from Jesus himself, we begin to flush out all diseases, infirmities, infections that they have here before.
The outreach, which also featured evangelism, exhortation, basic medical checkup, was to extend the love of Christ to the residents, which is the reason for the season.
They are giving us for free of charge. Sometimes my VP, my mind will just be doing ping, it will just be going up. So when I came now, they say my VP is high, and I really believe it.
The outreach is one of the programs of the Women of Zion to propagate the gospel. Adebola Brookslyn Sunday, NTA News.
Public-spirited Nigerians have been urged to always remember the less privileged in the society by assisting them materially and financially beyond the festive period. The Deputy Governor-elect Ogun State, Noyimot Salako Oyedele, gave the advice while celebrating Easter with some less privileged homes in Abeokuta. Hakim Jimo's report is here presented.
The visit of the Deputy Governor-elect to less privileged homes in Abeokuta on Easter Monday is to identify and celebrate with them, while extending love as others share in the joy of the season. Accompanied by Mrs. Bamidele Abiodun, wife of the governor-elect, the incoming Deputy Governor Noimot Salako Oyedele donated foodstuffs, beverages and toiletries to lepers colony at Iberekodo and Gideon Orphanage, Ashero, Abeokuta. The Deputy Governor-elect reassured the less privileged and those with special needs in the state of adequate care and support under the APC-led administration of Prince Dakpo Abiodun.
Oh, I think well-meaning Nigerians should join this spirit at celebration times, festival times, and even all year round. Let's look out for each other. Let's make sure that nobody feels left behind.
Beneficiaries are full of gratitude for the donation and for remembering them as parts of the society.
Nigerians should focus on love. We should focus more on loving nature.
And security matters following the renewed joint military offensive in northern Borno, the Boko Haram terrorist group is being restricted to the island of the Lake Chad. The Chief of Army Staff, Lieutenant General Tukur Buratai, said this while on Easter an operational visit to troops fighting the Boko Haram terrorists in northern Borno. Defense correspondent Ismail Musa reports that Lieutenant General Buratai was represented by the Chief of Training and Operations, Major General Lamidi Adeosun.
These are Chadian troops, Sector 2 of the Multinational Joint Task Force, MNJTF. Alongside their Nigerian counterpart, Sector 3, the Tactical Mobile Fighting Formation recently killed 39 Boko Haram terrorists in Cross-Kawa, northern Borno, and liberated people abducted, mostly women and children.
With the joint effort of Multinational Joint Task Force and national operations of all the countries involved, you discover that Boko Haram is now lurking mostly around the borders, especially in the dangerous and inaccessible areas of the Tumbus, the islands. And the best way to undo this is to have concentration of forces.
This is the Easter festive period, and the Chief of Army Staff, Lieutenant General Tukur Buratai, is here to felicitate with troops in the front line, commend their effective collaboration with the Chadian troops and efforts in keeping the terrorists at bay. Addressing special forces in Cross-Kawa Headquarters Sector 2 and troops of the 142 Battalion Mungunu, Lieutenant General Buratai charged them to sustain the current offensive posture.
We must never, ever allow the reverse to be the case again. Now we are on the offensive. We should never be withdrawn back to defensive. The Chief of Army Staff, Nigeria as a whole, appreciate you, and they are doing all possible to liaise with the political leadership to make sure the requirements we are lacking are provided.
He also visited the sick and wounded at the Sector 3 Medical Services, Mungunu. The Multinational Joint Task Force, MNJTF, with headquarters in N'Djamena, Chad, is a combination of mostly troops from the Lake Chad Basin member nations from Kuka local government area of Borno State. Ismail Musa, NTA News.
And staying with security matters, following credible intelligence, troops of Operation Harbin Kunama 3 have attacked and killed 6 bandits in Ankara local government area of Zamfara State. A statement by the acting Army Public Relations Officer, Colonel Sagir Musa, said several arms and motorcycles were recovered during clearance operations. Similarly, in Doka and Mutu villages in Goso local government area of Zamfara State, troops on patrol had an encounter with bandits, leading to the arrest of 18 suspected informants to the bandits, including the village heads of Duka and Mutu. The Force Commander, Major General Hakim Oladapo Okiti, reiterated the resolve of troops to tackle banditry and any form of criminality in Zamfara, Kebbi, Katsina, and Sokoto states. He enjoined members of the public to cooperate with security agencies by providing information that will assist in addressing criminal activities in the states. The Benue State Acting Governor, Bensi Abonu, has directed the imposition of 24-hour curfew on Katsina town. This followed the renewed clash between communities in Shitile and Ikura Tiv in the local government area.
In the other. And this is how it started, like joke, but has now degenerated to a situation whereby we are even having some influx of them into Katsina town. We have imposed 24-hour curfew. We will be monitoring this until tomorrow or so, and if the situation demands, then we will relax the curfew.
The acting governor condemned the crisis and warned those involved to stop any further violence, adding that he has directed the reinforcement of security personnel to the area to forestall further breakdown of law and order.
I am not interested in security forces going there and saying they have brought the situation under control and that the calm has been restored. But I have instructed that they must go beyond that. And what I mean by that is that they must run after these hoodlums wherever they go in order to bring them to justice.
As at the time of this report, the extent of damage and the number of lives lost could not be ascertained. You're watching the news on NTA International, reaching you from Abuja. Time to take a short break. We'll be back with more reports shortly.
Hear the call of change. Stand up, Nigeria. Change is here and it's going to stay. Change begins with you. Oh yeah, make we go. So let the change begin from within. Look at you, Ogerua. Change begins with you and me. Change begins with me. Change begins with me. Change begins with me.
This message is brought to you by the Federal Ministry of Information and Culture. NTA International News. Africa as it is.
Many thanks for being there. Federal Controller of Works in Lagos State, Adedamola Kuti, has reaffirmed the position of the Federal Ministry of Power, Works and Housing that the third mainland bridge is safe for use by the motoring public. Dotun Oguyemi has the details.
This widely circulated video on social media shows a shaking expansion joint on the third mainland bridge. However, the concern raised on the integrity of the bridge has been laid to rest by the Ministry of Power, Works and Housing, declaring that the bridge is safe.
Officials of the ministry say they are working to make the replacement of the joints soon. While this is being awaited, other repair works such as the resurfacing of the bridge as well as the underwater investigation of piles are being done.
And what people have seen is just the expansion joint that is not in good shape, which we discovered since last year. And the displacement is just about 1 cm, and we are going to do that. It's part of our work.
Members of the Nigerian Institute of Civil Engineers also came on an assessment of the spot and called for regular maintenance on all public infrastructure.
In 2008, they had done about 4. He told us in 2012 we had done about 8 of them. This time around, they are going to be maintaining about 12 joints.
The federal government is to come up with a policy that will address the misconception about the use of modern biotechnology to enhance the nation's food security. Ministry of Science and Technology is to draft the policy in collaboration with relevant agencies, including the Federal Ministry of Agriculture. Musa Babaliu has the details.
Nigeria is gradually embracing biotechnology to enhance our national food production, to cushion the effects of environmental factors occasioned by climate change. Scientists are of the view that biotechnology could be the panacea against the use of chemicals to improve yields and control pests and diseases.
Our faculties of agriculture, faculties of veterinary medicine, the whole national agricultural research system, we believe strongly in the powers of biotechnology to significantly contribute to the development of agriculture in this country.
There are, however, misconceptions on the use of the technology, with some environmental activists kicking against the use of the innovation. It is in the light of these that the Ministry of Science and Technology says establishing national biotechnology communication policy will go a long way in addressing the misconceptions.
The federal government of Nigeria has embraced modern biotechnology, and it is here for good. We will continue to engage with the media to inform the public about scientific innovations going on in this sector.
I challenge you media men today.
And this workshop, organized for journalists, especially agriculture, science and environment correspondent, is to further educate them on how to handle issues surrounding the use of biotechnology.
Not just giving out information, but educating people, giving people knowledge,
It's actually very factual, scientific facts.
The training is under the auspices of Forum for Agricultural Biotechnology. In Abuja, Musa Baba Aliyu, NTA News.
Now let's join Olayinka Ojo for trending stories from the financial sector.
The federal government says Nigeria is not in any way near a debt crisis despite its 24.39 trillion naira debts. Minister of Finance Zainab Ahmed said the debt figure as of December 31st, 2018 comprised Euro bond loans, facilities from the World Bank Group, China and African Development Bank Group constituting over 80% of the total debt stock. Worried by the inability of the 11 distribution companies to distribute power to many consumers, the Nigerian Electricity Regulatory Commission has said it is considering a new regulation to allow third-party investors take up and maintain parts of the vast electricity distribution network currently owned by the DISCOs. The regulatory agency said the proposed regulation was necessitated by the lack of capacity of the DISCOs to deliver electricity to many consumers.
Renewable energy development can make remarkable impact in Nigeria if the bottom-up approach, which involves indigenous community control, is adopted. These are the views of solar energy experts in Ontario, Canada, who believe strongly in the power of renewable energy cooperatives at the grassroots in Africa. Let's get details from Joy Osiagu.
From an adaptation point of view, if we are going to a world that is going to be more chaotic in terms of weather, then we also need to move away from a centralized grid system to a distributed grid. And a distributed grid means that you're going to have communities more involved.
To maximize the economic benefits and public endorsement for clean energy sources like wind and solar, community participation and ownership is imperative, as observed by Ontario solar advocates like Matt Zipkin.
You know, and we've seen that here in southern Ontario with wind, so not with solar as much. The reason why they're able to do it is because the people actually want it. Because even though their electricity prices may be going up, they're still actually getting a paycheck, a return, because they're invested in it. And so without having that community investment, you get a lot of pushback.
While developed economies like Germany and Denmark have made tremendous progress with the community involvement and ownership, Lisa Olke is pushing for more African countries like Nigeria to get the communities involved in renewable energy projects, as they create a multitude of benefits in comparison to commercially developed projects.
And solar energy doesn't require a huge infrastructure. You don't need transmission lines. You don't need transformers. In Ontario and in Canada, as well as North America, we see Africa as a very, very large emerging market. And there's a lot of interested companies in the industry that are looking for financial opportunities that they can create large-scale solar.
Renewable energy enthusiasts in Ontario strongly believe that when the strategies for inclusive economic development are situated within a framework grounded in the traditional values of the people and community investment, countries like Nigeria can overcome the obstacles standing between the people and wealth. In Ontario, Canada, Joy Osiagu, NTA News.
Elsewhere, Sri Lanka authorities block social media as police arrest 24 people following Easter Sunday blast. Over now to Uche Ugochukwu for details of this and more reports from other parts of the globe.
You're welcome. Sri Lankan authorities have ordered a state of emergency to be introduced from midnight Monday following the deadly Easter attacks which killed nearly 300 people and injured 500 others. The government believes a local Islamist extremist group called the National Tawhid Jamaat was behind the suicide bomb attacks and is investigating whether the group had international support. The presidency says it would meet with Colombo-based diplomats on Tuesday to seek international assistance. bombers. Meanwhile, the government has blocked social media as the police arrested 24 people in connection with the attacks believed to have been carried out by 7 suicide bombers. Polls opened on Monday for a third and final day of voting in Egypt on constitutional changes that could keep President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi in power until 2030. Sisi, who was elected president in 2014 and was re-elected in 2018 after eliminating all serious political competitors, is widely expected to get a comfortable win in the 3-day referendum. The final results will be announced on 27th April. And from Ukraine comes the report that a near final results show a comedian with no political experience and few detailed policies had dramatically won the country's presidential election by a landslide. The victory of 41-year-old Volodymyr Zelensky is a bitter blow for incumbent President Petro Poroshenko and presents a riddle for investors. That concludes our package. Thanks for being a part of it. I am Uche Ugochukwu.
Many thanks, Uche. And over to sports. The 2019 African Beach Volleyball Cup Senior Serves-Off in Abuja as Nigeria Curling Federation unveils equipment in Lagos. Olumide Egmutola has details of this and more on Sports Updates.